For almost 15 years now, Jon Bon Jovi has been the lead singer and songwriter of the band from New Jersey that bears his name. One of the most popular acts in rock and roll, he has sold more than 75 million albums worldwide. Now he is not only recording music, but acting in films with 3 movies on the way. His latest record is called Destination Anywhere. Here is a video from it. Now, Jon Bon Jovi, and I am pleased to have him here. Welcome.
Thank you, Charlie.
Great to have you. I didn't realize you lived in New Jersey.
Yeah, sure.
And Jersey is home. You were born there?
Born and bred.
You seem, according to what I read, have the acting bug.
I do. Yeah, I do. It was an accident. I didn't plan to get into acting. I had no desire to get into acting. 10 years ago, when people would ask me if I had any desire, I would say no, simply because I had too much respect for the medium. But I wrote a soundtrack to a movie called Young Guns, and I won a Golden Globe, and I was nominated for an Academy Award, and I was performing at the awards. And when you look out and your audience is Al Pacino and Anthony Quinn and, you know, all these famous movie stars, first of all, I thought, that's a pretty nice seat to have. I'd like to do this again. And I wanted to write other songs for movies, and that would be my outlet from the band. When the band weren't doing albums, I can continue to write soundtracks. But eventually those scripts dried up when directors aren't keen on, you know, putting soundtracks to their movies. But I had been bitten by the bug and took several years of lessons now, and eventually won my first role in a film called Moonlight and Valentino, and it's progressing.
What's Moonlight and Valentino? Moonlight and Valentino?
And Valentino, yeah. It was Whoopi Goldberg, Elizabeth Perkins, Kathleen Turner, and Gwyneth Paltrow. And it was for...
Nice cast.
Yeah, 4 women and me, and set in upstate New York, and a young wife's husband is killed, and how this house painter, me, helps her come to terms with life and love and the things around her.
Do you like it? I mean, it's the inevitable question. Do you like it more than music, or is it just a challenge?
It's certainly a challenge. I can't say that I like it more, because the great difference is I didn't create it. You know, with a record, I have every aspect of it. I write the songs, or you take the album cover, you know, you market it, you do everything about it. And in that, you're just a cog in the wheel. So it's interesting to relinquish power for a control freak like me. But it's a great learning experience. It's a way to express myself in the arts, and it's been fun.
Now, how is it to relinquish the power? I mean, do you feel vulnerable? Do you worry that someone else is making those important decisions about?
It's good when you don't profess to have the knowledge of the medium. You know, as long as you don't go in there with an ego or an attitude, and you go in there and say, I'm here to learn, it's wonderful. So far, so good. But as my wife says, another 2, 3 movies I'm going to be doing.
How about study? Who did you study with?
I continue to study privately with a guy here in New York named Harold Guskin, and he's quite an esteemed private coach for 6 years now, 5 or almost 6 years.
And you can feel the appreciation in terms of command of the craft.
It's getting better with every outing, You know, this 5th film I've just completed, a young director named Eddie Burns, who did She's the One, Brothers McMullen.
Been on here 3 or 4 times.
Has he? Well, Eddie's a sweet guy, and we just completed his new movie. He and I and Lauren Holly star in this picture. And obviously felt that it was better than the 4th and the 3rd, and not as good as the 6th. But it is turning around for me, because there's been a prejudice in Hollywood that, you know, they think, oh, he just wants to do it between records, or, you know, he's a rock and roll star. But now there's a great interest, which is
so the reverse of Keanu Reeves, isn't it?
As a matter of fact, it is. Yeah, I took him out on the road with me just because I knew the beating I was getting crossing into acting. I said, listen, you want to come and do some stadium shows? No headache, just come along. Gave him some shows.
Yeah. Tell me about this album, then we'll come back to the performing in terms of music and then acting. This album, you write every song?
Yeah, if I don't write it, sometimes I collaborate and I'll co-write it, but I've written everything on it.
Everything you've ever done?
There was one song on one record, my first album, because an A&R guy told me, if you do this song, we can sign you. And, you know, I did it, and it was one of those little mistakes you make. Every other song on every other album, this is my 9th album, yeah.
And the words and the music, or you just do the lyrics and someone else
both.
does?
No, I play and write and sing.
Yeah. How do you do the process?
Typically a title comes to you. Sometimes a melody, but typically a title. So you have your subject matter, and you work backwards. You get the feel based on the title, what it is that you're looking to do.
Yeah.
You know,
and this one, is it any kind of new direction for you?
Oh, very, very much so. It's first of all, it's a solo record. I did it without the band that I've had for 14 years, 14 plus years.
And how did you explain that to them?
Oh, it was an obvious time for our need to grow.
Right.
And Richie Sambora, who plays guitar for me, is doing a solo album as well. Tico Torres, the drummer's pursuing art. So everybody's found outlets now. We're not reliant on the band, which is a good, healthy thing. But with this album, I was in London doing a film last January, and I moved my family to London for the 3 months, and truly felt like a foreign man in a foreign land. And I knew I was about to embark on a solo album and this starring role in a small picture. So it felt energized, you know, and I said, destination anywhere. I don't know where I'm going, and I don't care. I'm just about to take off, and you know, hence the rest of the record. So it's a very introspective record.
Let me talk about some of the titles here, if I can get down to where I'm headed. But you tell me. I had a
right there.
Oh, right here. Yeah. Queen of New Orleans.
Well, that's fictional, but I went down to the Super Bowl last year to see the Patriots play because I'm the biggest Bill Parcells fan in the universe.
You're going to be a very happy man, aren't you? Now that he's back in New York.
See, it's hard because I bled blue all these years, so having him be with the Jets is very difficult. I'm going to get a hat that just says Bills on it. You know, Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick.
Why Parcells? Did it go back to when he was a Giant coach?
Yeah. I mean, I was the mascot. I sat on the bench at the Super Bowl. I have my own ring with my own number. You know, I mean, I was allowed to go to away games and be on the field.
And so you followed him up and became a Patriot fan?
Yeah. Both Parcells and Belichick, I just adore them. You know, and Parcells said to me on the sideline at the Super Bowl, he says, "You trade it all in to go in one play, wouldn't you?" And I said, "Just to hear you call my name, just one play." Yeah.
More than professional basketball, more than professional golf, more than professional tennis.
Football's my sport.
That's your sport.
Yeah. So I
Did
went
you
down
ever play
there.
in high school?
By high school, I became too small, and obviously, you know,
You're what, 5'11"?
Oh no, I'm 5'9".
5'9",
if I'm
yeah.
lucky, and you know, I was probably 120 pounds or something. So all the other guys kept getting bigger,
right.
and I realized it
well.
wasn't not a good idea. So that's a fictional song. That one in particular, because I was in New Orleans, and you saw all the mayhem around there at that time.
Janie, Don't Take Your Love to Town.
Janie's a very personal song in that my wife and I, my family and I, were on the road with the band last summer, and I was feeling a bit like an oldies act. You know, we were playing these major stadiums, and it was becoming a greatest hits show. We had this massive fight, and instead of sulking about it, when I came home from the show, and I know that she was awake even though she pretended to be asleep, I had to sit in the bathroom with the guitar, and I came out in the morning with a song. So the best way to get back into her heart was to write something.
How old are the kids?
4 and 2. My daughter Stephanie just turned 4. And my
no
son.
tour for this because you want to spend some time, or at least a summer with these kids.
Yeah, I'd like to spend the summer. Every year and every album I spend on the road. And with this, I'm going to stay home.
Yeah. How great was it when Springsteen came up on stage with you?
The first time when I was a kid? Oh, well, if you can imagine going to high school the next morning and you know, saying, well, what'd you do last night? I watched Dallas. What'd you do? Well, me and Bruce were playing down at, you know, the Fast Lane in Asbury Park. Yeah. So I got to know all of my heroes when I was 16, 17 years old. Southside Johnny and Bruce and Stephen Van Zandt were the guys that were my childhood heroes, the ones that you wanted to emulate because they made the impossible possible. You know, the Beatles were just fictional, and, you know, the Rolling Stones, it was beyond your grasp.
Right.
But these guys were making records in your backyard.
And these were guys you knew, and they came from the same place and all of that.
Yeah, they were all 10 years older than I, but
I mean, you knew
nonetheless,
who they were and where they came from and
the
what
songs
their
they
life
wrote
was
about
like.
were about my backyard.
Yeah.
So now, you know, you're in a bar and they jump up on stage or they're producing demos and what have you. Yeah, it's quite inspiring.
How will you balance these two things now, music and movies?
Music's always going to be my first love, simply like we said, because I create it.
Yeah.
But I have the privilege at this point in my career to decipher, should I or should I not tour? Should I or should I not release a record? You know, I'm in a great position being, like I said, you know, 9 albums in, you can dictate your schedule.
This is a clip from Destination Anywhere where you confront Demi Moore. Is it Demi? Demi, about her drinking problem. Here it is.
Come on, be careful. Stand over here.
God, you know
Stand
what?
over
I
here.
can do this myself. Okay? No, I'm gonna do it.
Janie!
Well, look who's decided to grace us with his presence. My goodness.
Stop this.
What, you run out of money? Or is it Leo?
It ain't Leo. I came home for you. I came home for us. I'm here. I came home for you. Come on.
Well, look what I've got for you then. We have a phone bill. We have some insurance.
Stop it.
And I have the gas bill.
Stop it.
And I have the electric.
Stop it.
We have the rent.
Stop it, Jesus Christ. Stop it.
Hey, stop it! Cut it out! Hey!
Don't touch me.
Cut it out!
Don't you ever touch me.
Go outside.
You happy
Go
now?
outside!
You started to say about this as we were watching it.
We created something new with this film, Destination Anywhere. It was made for MTV, made for VH1.
Right.
And I got tired of making videos. After 30 videos, lip syncing to a track is old. 15 years ago, when you started making records and MTV was new, it was fun to look at music for the first time. But the medium's grown tired, and so we pushed it a bit by creating an hour drama based on the songs and key lines of lyric that tied into this cohesive storyline. And when I had that together, I was able to approach Demi and Whoopi Goldberg, Kevin Bacon, and Annabella Sciorra, who you saw in that scene.
Yeah, great.
And to create something brand new that MTV obviously was going to embrace.
Would you characterize yourself, I mean, with all the success, commercial success? I mean, do you miss something in terms of, would you like for there to have been more critical success?
I don't think you can demand respect. You have to earn it. You know, obviously when you're as commercially successful as I've been, they're always rooting for the underdog, and you're not the underdog anymore. I get a lot more acclaim for my acting because I'm truly the underdog.
Yeah.
And
And
I
you're
know
not
that
making pretensions that you are something you're not.
absolutely not. And I don't do that in the music, but I guess the grandeur gives you that impression. And you know, we're happy to be here. That's our attitude. Every day the band goes out there and we just
Exactly.
You know, we're
I mean,
just
what's
happy
there
to
to
be
complain
here.
about?
Nothing.
God. I mean, this is
nothing. You know, so we've never been the critics' darling because we've just had a lot of success over the years. You know, and I don't really worry about it. As long as the people still like it, that's all that I ever cared about.
And is the image of you the image that you know of yourself, that you see? I mean,
I took a big chance on this record. You know, I made a very different sounding record. I obviously don't look like I did 10 years ago. It's not as cliche-ridden as anyone would like it to be. And I don't do it with the public in mind. I do it for me and by me. So 10 years ago, if you showed me the Slippery When Wet album cover and I say, yeah, well, that was me. I was 25 years old. You know, that's who I was. I'm proud of that at that time in my life, but I'm not going to come here at 35 and say, hey, Charlie, guess what? I rewrote Slippery. Not going to work.
it drives performers, true or false, mad that the public, which makes them, which gives them at least passage to continue acclaim, wants to hear all the stuff.
I understand that. As a fan, I understand that. You know, don't you want to see your favorite artist sing his favorite song?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the guy's been singing it for 30 years and he's gone, oh, God. You know, or we want you to look a certain way, and it just becomes a product as opposed to a person.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to jeopardize the commercial success on a record here and there, or take a shot and do a movie, when what if somebody would have said, if you do this movie, it's going to ruin your following musically? I didn't care. One thing I never done is made any decisions in fear, regardless of what they were. Some failed, some have won.
Good for you.
But I don't make them in fear.
Destination Anywhere, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Charlie.
Pleasure to have you
I'm
here.
a big fan. It's really
Mine
nice
too.
to be here.
Great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Jon Bon Jovi, Destination Anywhere is the album. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Senator John Kerry's here, and we'll talk about a new book about global crime.